Hi guys, looking a bit of a mess. Anyway, I found out this morning that I have COVID. I actually started feeling weird like yesterday or day before yesterday, early in the morning. And actually, no, day before yesterday, I started feeling really bad and coughing, like throat weakness, just like my muscle aching, feeling hot. I just couldn't even move for a while. Yeah, so anyway, I got tested and yeah, got COVID. So I'm just, taking medication, vitamin C and whatnot, and hoping to be better soon.
Hi guys, yes, from the title of this video and that little intro you just got, you now know that I caught COVID. And yes, I was even fully vaccinated at the time. In today's video, I'll be sharing with you how I found out that I had COVID, my daily symptoms, and how long after I was diagnosed with COVID-19 that I actually tested negative. For me, when I caught COVID, I was a little bit scared, right? So I spent a lot of time on YouTube just trying to get information, trying to get a sense of what people that have had COVID, what they went through, how exactly they dealt with it and overcame it. To be honest, it made the process of having COVID that much easier because I could sort of anticipate, right, what sort of symptoms that I was having, and knowing that other people had the same, it just made it a little bit more, not bearable, but sort of expected, right? I hope this video sort of helps in the same way, in terms of just helping you to understand what to expect, what I did, and if any point of it is helpful for you, that's the point of me creating this video. If you've caught COVID before and it seems everyone, their mom, their sister is catching this thing, I'll be surprised if majority of you guys haven't caught COVID, but if you've caught it before, leave a comment in the comment section below. Let us know, when you caught it, the symptoms you had, the struggles you had, or whether maybe you had it and you just weren't having any symptoms. Like, it'll be really great for the community to sort of see what people are going through, because the truth is a lot of people in Nigeria here and even in Africa as a whole don't believe COVID is a real thing. A lot of people are, they just think it's like malaria, like everything's like malaria, and they go and take malaria tablets, right? So God knows, how many people have sort of like maybe even died of COVID thinking it's malaria, right? So I think by sharing your stories, it really helps people reinforce the fact that this is a real disease, right? If it's your first time here, my name is Sassy Funke, and I'm a Nigerian travel and lifestyle content creator, creating to help Nigerian travelers globally navigate travel better and smarter. If that's something that you think you'll be interested in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a huge thumbs up. To the story, I was diagnosed with COVID on the 1st of December 2021. Right, so during the time where the new Omicron variant came out, and I don't even know if it was Omicron I had or not, I'm not quite sure, but it was then that it was sort of like, is it the fourth wave? I don't know which wave we had in Nigeria, was sort of booming. That's exactly when I caught it. Before I go into specifically my test results and tell you a little bit more about that, I should share that the only reason why I actually went to test for COVID was because a friend of mine who had stayed with me a few days prior called me to let me know that she caught COVID, right? And that I should probably get tested and whatnot. The day after she told me, I woke up at about 3 a.m. in the morning with like serious body aches, like really random body aches and weakness. I felt so weak. I was even meant to like work out that morning, but I was just like, nah, I can't. I shrugged the whole feeling to my CrossFit, right? A workout that I did like 3 days prior. Later on in the day, I started getting chills. I wanted to constantly like cover up. During the course of the day, I started getting like intense like headaches in the front of my head. Like, I typically get migraines anyway, but this felt so different. It was like in front of my head and it was just like pounding. It was then that it clicked to me. I was like, this babe has given me COVID. Like, I was like, okay, this makes sense. Like, these are potential symptoms of COVID. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go and get tested right away. I went to test at Medbury Medical Services. They're based in Lekki, and I went there to test because I knew that it's quite quick in terms of, I test by, I tested in the morning-ish, morning afternoon-ish, and I knew by the next day morning latest I would get my result. Right? So on that day, I believe it was. Let me pull this up. So it was the second, but it was the first that I tested, right? Yeah, so I tested on the first. So I got my result that I was positive for COVID-19. And I really actually want to share something that you guys might not know, right? With regard to the test result, especially if you test at Medbury Medical Lab. It was a PCR test. I'll pop it up here. If you look at the sort of like the mini spreadsheet in the middle with the results, and there's a particular column that says test value, right? And it gives different numbers for like, S gene, RDPN, N gene, E gene, right? So all these genes are basically, I think they're, if any of them is below the value of 40, right? Because they actually shared sort of a chart to how to interpret your positive results. If it's below 40, right, you have COVID, right? So mine was quite low. I was 18, 17, 16 point something, 15, and they found 4 different genes. Sometimes they only find one particular gene, but they found 4. And yes, so clearly I had COVID. So what I did is I now, every day that I was going through this disease, I actually documented how I was feeling. So I want to go into that and share that with you now, right? And I will say, okay, so this is now day 2, right? Day 1, I considered the day that I actually started feeling all the symptoms. Day 2 is the day that the lab called me early in the morning to let me know that I have COVID and that I should self-isolate, right? I believe they said self-isolate for, I think it's 14 days, 7 to 14 days, maybe 14 days, they said I should isolate for. I had more headaches in the morning. I started getting a runny nose, right, in the morning. I took Advil and Tylenol. The headache got better. I started coughing with like more phlegm. I was very tired and slept off in the afternoon. I woke up feeling normal. I even said here, I even filmed a video that afternoon. The headache came back again and not as bad as the previous day. I had a bit of shortness of breath. I got myself some vitamin C with zinc to help with immunity. This is something that the doctor at Medbury, when they called me, actually advised. The great thing about them is it actually gave you information on how to take care of yourself. So I followed that. In the evening, I bought some more medicine, right? So I had been informed that these particular medicines help with regard to reducing the symptoms of COVID. And let me just share with you what exactly those meds were. It was ivermectin, I'll put the photo up, and also Loratadine, right? Yeah, Loratadine 10, I'll put that up. And they said it really helps, just to reduce the symptoms essentially, right? Late in the evening, so I was feeling extremely weak, right? So let's go to day 3. Day 3, I woke up with a bit of a mild headache, not as intense as before. I had the mild headache throughout the course of the day. I was still coughing. It was a wet cough. I kept on taking my pain medications and the other medication that I mentioned the day before. Day 4, so I was resting a lot, right? Day 4, I woke up with a mild headache. And my body was just weak and tired. I had the mild headache throughout the course of the day. I was still coughing, wet cough, but it wasn't as much as the previous day. I still took my pain meds as pain and the other medications as per normal. Bear in mind that I had waves of feeling so much like pain, and I had waves of feeling okay, so I was normal. Whenever I felt normal, guys, it's terrible. I would literally get my camera out and film a video very quickly. A few of you mentioned in my videos, I'm not sure at the time, when you said, are you sure? I think, are you okay? Like, some of you thought that I was not fully, yeah, you guys can see. So let's talk about day 5. Day 5, I woke up with a mild headache again. By midday, my body just started feeling weak. I can't even explain the weakness, guys. Like, I'm the kind of person, like, during this whole COVID time, I work out at least 5 times a week. And for the past 5 years, 6 years, I've always been like this, like working out. I did not even have the energy to do anything, like literally anything of strain. I stopped working out completely because my body couldn't handle it, right? Okay, so on day 5, I was saying by midday, my body started feeling weak again. Towards the end of day 5, I was feeling much better, but I was still coughing a little bit. Day 6, I still had this mild wet cough. Headache wasn't as much, and I was just feeling very tired, like very, very tired. So on day 7, I was okay for most of the day, but mostly I had this wet, deep cough, right? I was tired, but not as much as the day before. From day 8 to about day, I guess, 14, I was feeling much better. I'll have little waves of tiredness, but overall, I could still film my videos. I was still self-isolating. I was still taking my medicine. I was still feeling sort of much better, you know? And because of that, I decided on the 17th of December that I was going to go back to the Medbury Medical Lab and take another PCR test just to check what my levels were, right? And I did the test on the 16th. I got my result on the 17th, which was about 14 days from when I first felt that I had COVID, right? And this was the result. I'll pop up the results here too. And we'll talk a little bit more about this because I want you guys to see something here, right? I noticed that when you look at that particular Excel spreadsheet where it says results, on the column that it says test value, there were only 3 sort of, I guess, genes that were recognized when they took the swab. You know, the RP, RDP, RDRP. Anyway, 3 of them, the N gene, the E gene, it was 39.74, 37.26, 38.08. And because it's below, the cutoff is below 40, it means I was COVID positive, right? So it's interesting though, if you read, they have a result interpretation, which I'll pop up too. And it states here that borderline late CT values. When the CT value, when this number is closer to 40, we refer this to as borderline, right? Between 38 and 40. And remember, both of mine, like 2 out of the 3 were like in that borderline. So it states here, borderline CT values may indicate 1, an early infection, 2, a late resolving infection, right? And 3, viral shedding from someone who has been previously positive, where small fragments can still be picked up during a PCR test. This can continue to occur for up to 6 months in previously positive individuals, right? So this is what I want you guys to know, right? Pretty much, if you've been positive for COVID-19, it's possible that even if you keep doing a PCR test for the next 6 months, you will actually test positive. Yes, guys, so this is why some people say it's better to do an antigen test after you tested positive, because an antigen test is not as, it's not effective. What's the word? It's not as sensitive, right? So it won't pick up all those minor fragments from like someone that is recovering from COVID, right? So yes, that was the issue. So if you guys overall, it was a really intense time. I should add that my daughter caught it, probably from me. My husband caught it, probably from me, right? So we all had COVID. And this was actually very scary because we had planned to go to Ghana for Christmas. And maybe you guys can now understand why I was a little bit like, oh my God, will I get to Ghana? If I get to Ghana and the antigen test, there's a fragment that is of COVID and it tests positive, I'll go into quarantine. That's also why I was so afraid, right? So overall, it was an intense time. I've never felt like that in my life ever. It's not something I wish on my enemy. Like, I am pretty resilient sometimes when it comes to just overcoming pain, but that pain that I felt the first couple of days especially, having COVID, it was intense for me. One thing though is I'm grateful that my friend called me and told me she had it. I think it's important that if you have COVID to actually tell other people that you've got it. So even with our daughter, when we found that she had it, we did an antigen test for her. She had it, so we informed her school. And before you knew it, in Nigeria, apparently a lot of people were having it even at the school. So they had to shut the school down early in December. So it's important to let people know, like, it's not a disease that, it's not like, oh, you shouldn't tell people because you feel ashamed or whatever. Everyone's catching this. You know, by speaking up, you're probably maybe even potentially saving a life, right? So that's really key to note. Yes, guys, you know, that is pretty much the end of my, you know, COVID journey. I hope forever. You know, I am obviously, I keep taking precautions because now, even more so, I was taking precautions before, but even more so now because I know the feeling and I don't ever want to go back there, right? Like that's, me and COVID, we need to have separate relationships, right? I'm hoping to get my booster shot soon just to help, but the way all this new variants of COVID is popping up, who knows, right? Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Like, let me know your experiences with COVID-19, how you felt, how, you know, how long before you got a negative result, what your symptoms were. I really love to hear your stories. I'll love to, and I will be engaging in the comment section below. Thank you once again for watching. And actually, in my next video, I'm going to be sharing with you what the Nigerian government sent to me. Yes, stay tuned for that. And if you made it here, oh my God, so many things for you. Just say, Sassy, I made it. Sassy, I made it. Thank you once again, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye. Bye.